What's up, everybody listening on their radios? Welcome to Sports, Politics, and More. I am your host, Andrew Pollack, joined as always by the wonderful Frank Todaro. Frank, how are you tonight?
I'm okay. How are you, Andrew?
Well, after my week of relaxation, I'm doing pretty well.
Oh yeah. Well, what was this now? The studio, the second studio.
Yes, it's actually coming along pretty nicely. There's only one missing accessory, and that is my gaming setup.
What is this? This is your studio apartment or your room?
You could say room.
So why do you call it studio for? I don't understand.
I don't know. Okay, I took the idea from another YouTuber.
My studio. Anyway, so have you been following the news?
Well, for our listeners, I'll educate them about what's been going on recently. Yes,
They know what's going on. I'm asking you if you know what's going on.
Oh, yes, I'm aware of what happened in Charlottesville.
Yeah. Oh, and you were close to there, weren't you?
Actually, from where I was in the Delmarva, I was a couple hours away. Yes.
You already 2 minutes in, and I'm hearing static from your end.
How come you hear static?
Now I hear. Stop fidgeting around.
How am I fidgeting around?
See, listen. I'm going to tell the listeners. We had a sound check before, and I'm telling Andrew how he kills the show every time we have to go through this.
Ugh.
Andrew? Every time I hear that, it's like why don't you just kick me in the nuts? Really, why don't you just kick me in the nuts? That's what it feels like every time I hear that.
Really?
Yeah, it's horrible. It's horrible.
My bad.
It kills the flow.
All right. I'm gonna have to be careful with how this stupid earpiece works.
Don't move. And you can't. You really can't you afford to buy a $25 headset?
Ugh. I knew I forgot to buy something now.
Oh my God! All right, no, I don't see. We get off the track anyway. So you were by Maryland, right?
Yeah, and well, not Friday night. What happened? But what happened on Saturday? Yeah, I was on my way when it happened.
Oh, so
when the woman got ran over, you mean?
Yeah, when that nut fucking he tried to mow down the whole crowd.
To think that you're on the New Jersey Turnpike and all of a sudden that's happening. That's a little bizarre when you think about that.
Yeah. Well, listen, I said it. That guy's an idiot. Whoever that guy was, he's an idiot. You don't go and try and run over a whole bunch of people, no matter what. Even if they beat you up, whatever. That's not right. Go out and fight with your hands. Do something.
Not run over people with your car.
Yeah, but yeah, that's set aside. It's terrible that the girl died, and many others could have avoided injury. But my beef with all this, and again, I'll quote Trump: the many sides. Listen, all this is definitely see. And I have to always see. I always take the fun out of this because I have to. I come up with the real logic and the truth, just like North Korea, right? Every week, what do I say about North Korea? It's a joke, right?
It's all just. I say this all the time. I tell everybody it's just a media cycle. They're looking for ratings.
It's not even that. Just real quick, the North Korea thing. That's a propaganda war. Okay, that's a war played out on TV in the media. It's all a dick stroking contest. The North Korea is shit. Again, I have to say this every week, right? What do I say? They eat bugs and stuff. And what happened? We don't hear nothing of North Korea now. It's all bullshit.
I tell everybody we're fine. If we could survive a media crisis like the Cuban Missile Incident, we could survive this.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, yeah. So even this is all, I think, created all these protests on many sides, on both sides. I scour the internet every day. I see pictures and reports of the buses that bring all these people in to these places. I looked it up. there's companies that you can hire crowds. It's I heard there's one called crowdhire.com where you could call this company and they hire people for you. They hire actors, crisis actors or whatever they are, and they put them in and of course they can't tell them that this is to protest. They say we're training you to act for a part or a scene. That's to make it legal. Otherwise, it's illegal. And it's both sides. And I saw one site where they had the buses, and they had people from people wearing KKK shirts and the Antifa people coming out of the buses and the same time. It's so fake. And then
what you're suggesting is that what happened in Charlottesville with the counter protesters, you're claiming that somebody sent them Antifa, right?
And
right.
And even the neo-Nazis and the white supremacists. Those are selected people. They're injected into it, and then you have idiots who watch the news and who think who can't tell. That's going to be the focus of this show. The whole problem with this is. We live among idiots. Our society is becoming idiots, right? Andrew, you mentioned the movie Idiocracy a couple weeks ago.
A couple of times. I'm very fascinated with that movie.
There's people who right now, mostly maybe between 30 and younger, even sadly some adults who can't decipher between reality and the movies and the news. They watch movies and they really think that it's happening. They really think that's the reality of the world. So they inject these people. There's organizers on both sides, probably from the FBI, definitely the FBI. The FBI runs all this shit. Believe me, they run it all. They quarterback it, and then they let it play out. They let it play out just to see what happens. They identify these people. These people are all under surveillance, all of them, and then this stuff happens, and then you have some idiots who actually think it's real and get involved in this. And you have one idiot who tries to mow down people. You have idiots who beat people with clubs, and it's really sickening. And then of course we have the fake news, CNN, MSNBC, all the news really. They push the narrative. Whoever controls the media is pushing this, whether it's to disrupt President Trump. Yeah, it's definitely to disrupt him. And
it's probably the same theory that CNN also pushed Black Lives Matter to go into Ferguson 3 years ago.
Listen,
isn't that correct?
Let me ask you something. Do you think in the last 6 months there hasn't been a cop that shot an unarmed man or an unarmed black man in America?
I have not heard about that since Trump took office.
You haven't heard about it, but you don't think it's happened?
It probably has.
Of course it has. Of course it has. It happens almost every week, but they don't put it on TV because if you understand, it happens a lot. It happens a lot. So what they put on TV is what triggers people. You understand? So whatever the news puts on, that's the reality for people. Because God forbid people read a book. There was this one idiot last night. He said he was talking about communism and how communism was great. And he goes, "Look at Star Trek. That's the perfect example that communism is great."
It's not great.
Yeah, no. He's saying that Star Trek. You've watched Star Trek, right?
Well, actually, I'm not a Star Trek fan.
Have you heard of Star Trek?
Oh, who hasn't heard of Star Trek?
So this idiot is saying that he's citing Star Trek, a fake movie, a fictional movie about the future that communism, that the communism works. That's my point. These people they're gone. They're gone. They have no basis in reality. They don't read books
because they're fascinated by science fiction.
Oh, fiction. Fiction is not real. It's fake.
I said science fiction.
Yeah, but it's fiction. Fiction.
In general, you mean? Yes.
Yeah. Everything you see on TV is fiction.
Pretty much.
Yeah, and people can't decipher it. So anyway, with these protests, now all of a sudden these statues are the devil. These statues have been up for 100 years, 50 years, 60 years. Nobody even paid attention to them. If you go out in the streets before last week and you would have asked people who these statues are, they wouldn't even know who they are. They wouldn't even know. The people don't even know what the Civil War is. But all of a sudden now everybody's an historian, and now all of a sudden all these statues have to come down. It's crazy. It's really messing with people's minds, because people that right now are just, it's like they're zombies, and they're being programmed and they don't even know it.
Well, I want to say this in terms of statue removal. I tell people all the time, the worst president in history, hands down, is Andrew Jackson. And then I tell people, do you really think they're going to get rid of his statue in New Orleans?
Listen,
I don't think so. They will not do that.
Where does it end? Where does it end? Do we take all the presidents off our money? Do we erase everything from the history? But no, you can't do that. This is ridiculous. It's people getting triggered, and it's.
I don't know if I'm ready to see Harriet Tubman on the $20 bill yet.
Well, even if she goes on the $20 bill, I'm talking about you can't do this overnight. And my question is, how come all of a sudden now it's of interest now? All of a sudden, why? Obama was in office for 8 years. How come?
I'm going to blame Charlottesville for why this debate began.
Charlottesville. What happened in Charlottesville? It was to protest the Robert E. Lee statue.
Well, Robert E. Lee. That's what caused the issue.
I know what happened. I'm saying. Why all of a sudden now is this become an issue? But then of course, you have the fake news, which is just I never seen so much lying. It's like whatever Trump says, they say the opposite or ignore it, and there's people out there who believe it. And it's sick. Here, hold on. I'm going to play a little clip of Don Lemonhead.
His speech was without thought. It was without reason. It was devoid of facts. It was devoid of wisdom. There was no gravitas. There was no sanity there. He was like a child blaming a sibling on something else. Oh. He did it. I didn't do it.
Yes. Tell us
He
more.
certainly opened up the race wound from Charlottesville. A man clearly wounded by the rational people who are abandoning him in droves.
And that's another thing. It's not a race war. This is not a race war. This is not black and whites. It's all these idiots protesting are all whites, except for a few black people in there. And did you see last night they punched the black guy in the back of the truck?
I don't even think that. I think what this is nationalism. That's what this is about.
This is what it is. It's communism versus capitalism, democracy.
I think that if you're promoting, what's the word I have to think of right now? Because you're literally killing my train of thought here.
I'm killing your train of thought.
Self-inclusiveness. There we go. If you're putting that narrative into your cause, then you are the problem on why America is divided. I've always felt that we are trying to become equal no matter what our race is.
No. Listen. This is another thing. These people want equal outcome. That's what communism is. Equal outcome. You understand what I'm saying?
That didn't work in Venezuela.
No, equal outcome is meaning that if you're a doctor and I'm a garbage man, we make the same amount of money. That's equal outcome. What we have here in America is equal opportunity. That means everybody starts off equal, and then the best, the cream of the crop rises. You understand?
Well, I don't feel like that. No.
What do you mean you don't feel? What do you mean you don't feel like that?
I don't. Well, can you explain to me again? Because I'm just getting equally confused right now.
Yes. It's because you're not the only one. Communism and what these people want is equal outcome. That means the end. Everybody at the end, everybody is equal. So that means if you, Andrew, are a doctor, and me, Frank, I'm a sanitation man, we make the same salary. Is that fair?
Oh,
is that fair?
That's fair.
it's fair if you're a doctor and I'm a garbage man that we make the same amount of money.
Oh, that narrative. No, then no, because the doctor makes more money.
Right, right, and he should, and the doctor deserves to make more money, right?
Yeah, of course, doctors deserve to make more money.
Why? Because they're smarter, they studied more. What they do, not too many people could do. So
and probably they're paying higher property taxes.
It doesn't matter. I'm saying if in a communist society, the doctor and the garbage man make the same amount of money every week. So if I'm growing up, what's going to make me want to go to medical school to become a doctor when I could just become a sanitation man? You understand?
Right, of course.
Right. So that's why communism fails. What we have here in America is, in the beginning, everybody starts off equal. You understand? When you're 5 years old and I'm 5 years old, we are equal. We could make your dream, anything you dream of could become true. If you want to become a doctor, study hard, and you could become a doctor. If I want to become
you can make a 5-figure salary.
Right. If you study hard, you got to work hard. People aren't going to give it to you. If you want to get into medical school, you need a 3.7 GPA in college, and that's why. And these kids, and this is what I'm saying. All these people, the Antifa, everybody, a generation of kids who grew up with the participation trophies. You know what that is, right? I'm sure you got one.
Man, I want to get. I'm thinking of getting a headache because of that.
Yeah, a participation trophy. That means when these kids were in school, and they played sports, sport games, there was no winners, there was no losers. Everybody's a winner. Or if your grades, everybody gets a B+. Yay! Because we don't want to make anybody feel bad. No, that's not the way it works in the real world. So hold on, let's see here, Dominic.
It looks like you're about to break down into tears, just like your coworker Van Jones did last week. I usually have something clever, something smart. I'm just hurt. I'm sitting here hurt, and I think a lot of people are hurt tonight. Please share some more of your divine wisdom with us, Mr. All-Knowing CNN host. Don. That's the truth. If you watch that speech as an American, you had to be thinking. That was one of the greatest speeches of all time.
These guys.
This entire arena stands united in forceful condemnation of the thugs who perpetrate hatred and violence.
That sounds like racist code words to me. That's a racist dog whistle to the KKK.
Yes.
That's our sound on CNN.
But
He's racist. See, and that they take Trump's words and they just twist them. And people, do you think there's anybody out there who actually says, hey, you know what? Let me go listen to the speech myself. Let me listen to what Trump says. No, nobody's going to say that. But it's all crazy.
First of all, Mark Dice, thank you very much for uncovering the stuff that the media does not want to tell us. Okay. Second, Don Lemon just needs to shut the hell up.
Yeah, he's pretty much a phony.
I pretty much say the same thing about Chris Hayes from MSNBC and the same thing to Sean King from the Daily News.
Listen to this. I got a clip. This is Don Lemon interviewing Morgan Freeman.
By the way, that's a stupid name, Don Lemon.
That's not really his name. That's these guys are fake news actors. Now hold on. This is Don Lemonhead interviewing Morgan Freeman. You know who Morgan Freeman is, right?
Oh, of course. I mean,
okay. All right.
He portrayed God in two Almighty movies.
Right. They're talking about race in America, and Morgan Freeman is telling him it's bullshit. Not in 2000. Not in today's day. And listen to what Lemonhead tells him.
Lemonhead.
It seems like every single day on television I'm talking about races because of the news cycle. It's in the news, but sometimes I get so tired of talking about it. I want to just go, this is over. Can we move on? Everything you talk about it exists, right? It's not like it exists and we didn't feel it to talk about it.
that's right.
Making it a bigger issue.
And did you hear that?
I literally drained it out because I hate hearing his voice.
All right. That's from 2014, and Don Lemonhead is telling Morgan Freeman that he might get in trouble with his colleagues, but he tells him that he's every day. It's like he's tired about talking about race, He finds himself almost talking about race every day. This is 2014, and he says he's tired of it because it's over. So in 2014, he's admitting that he's tired about talking about race on the news, and that pretty much racism is dead. But he goes on in 2017 talking about race and racism because he's a fake news actor.
Don Lemonhead.
Yeah,
that's original.
Yeah. This is it. And people, and I go on Twitter now, and I have to. I don't even go back and forth with people on Twitter because you can't convince people on the internet the truth.
Oh, see, that's the problem. Everybody just loves to watch your fake news network.
Yeah, because it feeds into their beliefs. You understand? It feeds into their beliefs. You can't.
I want this to stop. Can I be honest? Can I call DirecTV out for a sec, please?
What do you want to call DirecTV out for?
Okay, so I want to tell DirecTV this: if there's a way you can reduce my bill to get rid of MSNBC and CNN, please let me do that as soon as possible.
But
I am sick and tired of paying extra money for these networks.
That's basic cable, isn't it?
Yes, they did that. They asked me last year, do I want to drop ESPN? And I told them no.
You should.
Why?
Well, we'll get into that at 8:30 coming up. We'll have the news. We'll get into them. ESPN. They've become the sports version of the liberal alt-left fake news.
Well, that's terrible. Then how am I going to watch Monday Night Football then?
You could stream it.
Stream it.
And what? You could stream anything you want. Come on. Don't you know there's ways on the internet to stream anything?
Yes, but my mom is a big TV watcher, and she loves her DVR, and she cannot live without it.
Yeah, but can't you go on the internet and watch the football game?
You do have a point, but I'm not dropping my satellite and losing every program that I recorded and my mom recorded.
I understand. But listen, we'll get into them at 8:30. But anyway, it's draining. It's draining, and I tell a lot of people, on Twitter and on Facebook, stop watching the news. Stop watching it. It's making people, almost get a nervous breakdown. Definitely, a lot of people are suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder.
PTSD.
Yeah, it is. A lot of people are suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder. And this is because of literally the last 18 months of constant 24/7 bombardment of anti-Trump propaganda and hysteria. And it's making people like...
I do want to say something about the Trump speech last night. I completely agree with him about Fox News. They've been covering him fairly.
Oh, right now Fox News is the only network Fox News is they're the Trump network right now, and it's they're his cheerleader. But that's not because probably they like him, and not everybody on Fox News likes him, because they see that there's a market for people, for Trump supporters who want to watch the news and not have to hear every 10 seconds how Trump is a racist, a Nazi, a Russian collaborator,
or he's a bigot.
Oh yeah, what happened to Russia now? That's gone, right? Nobody talks about Russia now. What happened?
Oh boy, Russia. When was the last time we heard about them?
Oh, that's because see all this, and that's the thing.
And speaking of which, when was the last time we heard from Hillary Clinton?
Yeah. We're going to hear about her. She's coming up in the news. See, I think it's the Democrats. The Democrat liberal alt-left controls the news. And if you notice, every time negative stories start coming out about the DNC, like for instance, last week there's a news story going around about how Debbie Wasserman Schultz, she had those two Indian IT guys who are under indictment now.
Oh, wait a second. How come I haven't heard about this?
Because you just follow the news on TV. You don't actually go digging on the internet. It's hard to find this. Yeah, these two guys, these two Indian guys, not whatever, they're IT guys. No, I'm saying they're the Indian guys.
I know.
They have weird names. I can't pronounce them. They're under indictment and they're on the run because now it's coming out that they're saying they might have sold sensitive data to Russia. This is the same crew that's telling you that Trump and Trump is the one who's colluding with Russia. You see what I'm saying? That's their strategy. Whatever that's the strategy.
They're really desperate for a story now, aren't they?
No, they're not desperate for a story. This is the strategy of the Democrats and the communists. What they're at fault, they project onto you. It's called the House of Mirrors. So if whatever you have, whatever you're doing wrong, you blame the other person for what you're doing wrong. You understand? It bounces off for you onto them. But anyway.
I hate those dumb chains.
Yeah. Anyway, I by the way, I want to bitch and moan. The weather sucks right now in New York City.
Why does it suck?
It's very humid outside.
Then explain to me how the next week it's supposed to be below the average humidity around here, and it's not even going to hit 90.
Oh wow! No, I'm starting to. The older I get, the more I hate New York City weather. It's either in the wintertime it's too cold, and then in the summertime it's too hot and humid. The only time it's really good is maybe a little bit, a few weeks in the fall and a few weeks in the spring, and then in the spring and the fall, then when the weather's like tolerable, then it rains all the time. I really hate New York City weather. Anyway,
No, I agree with you.
Yeah. I'm starting to complain like an old man, but it's true. I can't. I don't care about the heat. I don't care if it's 95 during the day, just as long as at night it cools off, and I hate the humidity.
That's why you have to run your air conditioner.
Yeah. All right. Anyways, so I don't know. You want to start the news a couple of minutes early?
1 minute early. All right. Let's read the news. Houston, man.
Is this becoming your favorite segment, Andrew?
Well, James did his best last week.
Yeah. Both of you guys better learn how to read.
All
right, go ahead. You guys both do a good job. Okay, go ahead.
All right. Houston man charged with trying to plant bomb a Confederate statue in Herman Park. The park ranger spotted him kneeling in the bushes by the 112-year-old Confederate statue with the explosives in hand.
Yeah, this guy's playing army with the statues.
Was he trying to harm the statue, she asked. Yes, he said. He didn't like the guy. The late-night confrontation at the statue of Confederate Lieutenant Dick Dowling.
Oh?
Dick Dowling. Detained in court records by a federal agent, led to the arrest of 25-year-old Andrew Schneck.
Andrew, fix your microphone.
I said, led to the arrest of 25-year-old Andrew Schneck.
Yeah, I hear you. You keep cutting off.
Setting off a 2-day operation by Texas law enforcement that forced the evacuation of the Tony Rice University neighborhood where Schneck lives with his parents.
So what were they? What was this guy in the surveillance? I don't understand.
Well, if we keep reading,
all right, good.
Then we will get more into the story.
Okay, continue.
All right, bomb squad experts detained a cache of high-powered explosives found on the property Monday afternoon as residents waited to return to their homes. The arrest marked the latest chapter in a growing fight over Confederate statues that has sparked protests across America, punctured by a deadly clash between white supremacists and SJWs August 12th in Charlottesville, Virginia.
Oh my God.
They are SJWs.
They're not. They're retards.
Schneck charged Monday with attempting to maliciously damage or destroy property. Was ordered into federal custody pending a court hearing later this week. If Schneck is convicted, he can face up to 40 years in prison and a $250,000 fine.
Oh boy.
What was that?
I think the statue exploded. Duck. What a moron.
Yes. So let's just recap this. An SJW thought this was an excellent idea.
Could you imagine this guy? He's 25 years old. If this guy actually has winds up finding someone and has kids, could you imagine when he's like 50 years old and he's gonna tell his kids about this? He's like, "Yeah, I tried to blow up the statue. I didn't like it. It was bothering me."
Mr. Schneck has been caught twice. In 2014, he had strong explosives at his parents' property and was sentenced to 5 years probation, but was released early last year.
So this guy has a history of doing this.
It is not surprising that the SJWs are finding crazier ways to blow up these old Confederate statues now, isn't it?
I'm saying he's had a history of trying to blow things up. He's a wacko.
Lawyers for Schneck offered few details about the case.
Yeah, what are they going to say? Clients, a deranged moron who likes to blow things up?
Quote, "This is an evolving situation with an ongoing investigation," said Philip Hilder, who was representing Schneck, and a few represented him in the previous case. "It would be premature to comment at this time since we have not seen the evidence."
No, there is the evidence. The federal agents observed him planting explosives at a statue. Plead guilty.
All right, let's move on to the next story, please. Hillary Clinton calls Trump a creep in her new book, and I'm actually aware of the story.
Oh.
Because honestly, she was the creep in the last election.
Yeah, and her husband's not a creep, right?
Not if you're getting down and nasty with a young intern behind the Oval Office.
Right. Yeah, and that's just one. Go ahead, continue.
Maybe more graphic. In a first look at her new book, former Democratic presidential nominee Hillary Rodham Clinton described then Republican nominee Donald J. Trump as a creep and says he invaded her personal space during the second debate last fall.
No, it's not. She's full of shit. They always talk about how Donald Trump was always standing behind her. That's bullshit. You know what that is? That's actually her husband, Bill Clinton. It's a Bill Clinton debate strategy where you stand in front of your opponent while you're speaking so the camera captures your opponent's facial expressions. You understand? She's full of shit. She is full of shit. Not only full of shit, full of smelly, rotten shit.
Do you want to know how Hillary Clinton got this language from? I'll tell you who she got this language from. Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah, they're all the same. They're all a bunch of morons.
By the way, I highly suggest you watch Mark Dice's video about her. It's nuts. But here's what Hillary Clinton had to say.
It's just awfully good that someone with the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
Because you'd be in jail.
Secretary Clinton.
No, what a creep. That's why her skin was crawling.
Frank, can you cue up the clip of the Hillary Clinton quote that was said from the quote, "You stay calm, keep smiling"? Do you have that clip?
I don't know. Good. Keep reading.
Well, I'll read it anyway since Frank doesn't want to cue up the clip. There is a clip of it online.
What do you think I have?
Well, I thought you would have the clip ready. All right, I'll read it since Frank doesn't have the audio. "Do you stay calm, keep smiling, and carry on as if he weren't repeatedly invading your space? Or do you turn, look him in the eye, and say loudly and clearly, "Back up, you creep! Get away from me! I know you love to intimidate women. You can't intimidate me, so back up."
She's
I
so
chose
full of shit.
I kept my cool,
Yeah.
aided by a lifetime of dealing with difficult men trying to throw me off.
Who like your husband?
Oh,
She's so full of shit. She's trying to pander to all the feminists and all the idiots out there.
and the SJWs.
Yeah, well, yeah. Again, I just explained what her strategy, what the strategy is to stay during the debate. You stand in front of your opponent, so that way the camera captures your opponent's facial expressions. It's her husband's strategy. Donald Trump wasn't close to her. Donald Trump can't stand her. He doesn't want to be close to her. Donald Trump wouldn't fuck her with odd dicks.
Well, Donald Trump could care less about that because he's already had a lifetime of messing around with women.
Well, that's so what? Was that wrong? He's a single man. He could have women, but that's not wrong. That's not bad. It's consistent.
Yeah, well,
Andrew, what is it wrong for you to have a girlfriend?
It's not wrong for me to have the current girlfriend I have right now. That's for sure.
It doesn't matter. Who are you to judge who he sleeps with?
Well, the Democrats like to do that.
Well, yeah. Who do they sleep with? Little children?
The obstructionists just love to create these rumors,
Of
and
course.
so does the fake news.
Anyway, this whole thing about Hillary, she's trying to sell her book. See, that's what people forget. She's trying to sell her book. Like this heifer needs more money. She needs more money. So she's trying to sell her book. She's trying to pander to the women, to the feminists, to the idiot feminists, and other idiot morons who buy into her, who drink her Kool-Aid, trying to throw her off. It's a fucking debate.
Let me see what happens if I just randomly Google Hillary Clinton Kool-Aid right now, because you're triggering me.
Read the news. Read the news. Forget this. Finish this article.
Okay. During the debates last fall, well, the second one, Mr. Trump did walk over toward Mrs. Clinton when she was responding to an audience question and seemed to move with her around the debate stage. The excerpt is a first look at her new book, What Happened, set to be released next month.
You see how they this is a science that these people do of lying, and people who have a half a brain, even some smart people, they can't figure it out. See, me, I read, and I'm not because I'm smart, because I read, and I'm telling you the strategy. It looks like Trump is following her, but in essence, she's just walking and constantly staying in front of Trump.
All I gotta say is this: Kool-Aid.
Oh yeah! Fuck up. Yeah, I'm glad the Wicked Witch of Washington didn't win.
See, the reason why I'm relieved that she didn't win was because the Islamic terrorists would have probably terrorized us more.
Forget that. There's no Islamic terrorists. Islamic terrorists is the CIA and the FBI.
I'm talking about ISIS.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm talking about. Has there been any attacks in the United States
since Trump took office? Nope.
Right, and even before those people, those again, just like I said before, with those idiot protesters, the FBI goes and recruits dummies who are on the fringe, and they convince them to carry out something. They give them the supplies. And then that's how they catch them. You can look it up online. FBI.
It's very irritating.
Yes, it's all puppet masters pulling strings. All right, enough. God, let's move on to the next story.
All right, we got a very odd story here to read, and that is a sex fantasy leads fancy pants college professor to stab his boyfriend 70 times.
His boyfriend?
This sounds like a very odd homosexual experience that I will read about. The now former Northwestern University professor, who horrifically and manically slaughtered his boyfriend to death, was acting out an extravagant, vicious plot he conceived in an online classroom along with an Oxford University employee, prosecutor said. The microbiology professor,
Yeah.
Wyndham Latham, was a faculty researcher at Northwestern Feinberg School of Medicine in Chicago when he allegedly committed the insidious crime inside his sophisticated and timeless downtown Chicago condominium. Oh. The murder victim was Trenton H. James Cornwell Dernlow, a 26-year-old hairdresser.
Oh, what a surprise. A hairdresser.
At a bond hearing on Sunday, Cook County prosecutors told the judge how they believe Latham, 43, and his accomplice, a 56-year-old British national named Andrew Warren, planned and executed the gruesome killing according to the Chicago Tribune.
Help! 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 This.
For several months in their online chats, prosecutors say Latham and Warren discussed their desire to murder at least one random person and kill themselves as part of a bizarre sex fantasy.
Oh my God! These people, see this is the see in every civilization, people who study civilizations, the United States is at the point where we have become we're starting to reach debauchery and perverted sexual fantasies. And this is the prelude to the downfall of our civilization.
Well, I think over the years, the internet's made it worse.
No, you just know about it now.
No, I'm blaming the internet because...
No, the internet's there. What? You don't think people used to allure people with ads back in the day, Andrew? Back in the day, people used to place ads in the newspaper, and you used to answer them.
Oh man, see, I'm in a time hole then.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying it's nothing new to answer ads or whatever, and now it's just easier, and you hear more about these crazy stories because the internet you have more access to it. But anyway, go ahead, continue.
All right, so basically, what happened was the professor had to pick the murder victim. So he figured he'd kill his own boyfriend. So Latham and Warren murdered the boyfriend in the wee hours of July 27, 2017. That's odd. 7/27/17. Isn't that funny?
I don't know. Maybe that was some significance.
I don't know. It sounds weird to commit the murder on that day.
I don't know.
Oh. Earlier in the month, Latham paid Warren's airfare so that Warren can fly from England to Chicago O'Hare. Latham then paid for Warren to stay in a hotel near his 10th floor condominium. Cornell Dernlow was sleeping in a bed inside Latham's apartment. After receiving a text from Latham, Chicago police said Warren left the hotel and came to the apartment. Warren's job was to hold the cell phone and record the murder.
And record it. That's another thing. People have this now. People want to record everything. Even their crimes.
Ugh. I don't know what's going on with these people. I can't read any more of this.
That's it. They watched these two guys watch Psycho and then killed their boyfriend. All right,
I'm going to move on to another perverted story.
What's so perverted about it, Andrew?
Well, what's perverted about this one is that a sex robot prostitute is better than humans.
Oh yeah, so much better.
Ugh. The unusual story of Fanny, a sex doll which has become a top-selling superstar of the I can't even read this.
Kontakov.
Kontakov. It's so hard to read.
All right.
brothel in the Austrian capital of Vienna became worldwide news last month, with newspapers all over the world telling the tale of how she got more customers than the prostitutes.
How do you feel if you're a prostitute working in this brothel and there's a robot making more money than you? I think it's time to find a new job.
Oh, man. We live in messed up times. We really do.
A robot, a sex doll robot. It's basically a highly technological, advanced blow-up doll.
The technology that we have all come up with.
Oh my God.
The Austrian media are reporting that a growing number of other brothels are making the switch.
Sure, that you don't have to pay them.
Peter Laskaris, who operates 2 brothels in Vienna, said that although lifelike dolls from Japan cost up to 7,000 euros, is obviously a trendy fetish what other brothels must also follow.
Just imagine this: if you're a man and you're seeking some action, and you go to a brothel, and it's not a brothel just to get a woman; it's a brothel you pay to have sex with a blow up doll, sex robot doll. Oh my God,
that's idiocracy.
I don't know what it is. Continue, Andrew.
Kontinkoff, which rents out this dumb thing for 80 euros per hour, is now considering buying a second one due to the huge demand, as this dumb thing is booked for who knows how long.
There's a waiting list. There's a waiting list for this thing. You have to call in advance to make an appointment. And what do you do? You're sticking your penis into a fake vagina that everybody else puts their penis in.
See, that's not clean.
Who's the person that has to clean the sex robot vagina?
Well, I'm gonna read this. This robot is 1.56 meter tall and weighs 40 kilograms. Has long blonde hair and big boobs.
Oh, of course. That's why all the guys are hot for her.
They don't mention that she has a big ass?
I don't know.
Well, that's the problem. They should have included that to make us get, excited reading this, which I'm personally not, because this is not what people have in mind when it comes to these fantasies.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't. That's the last thing that we all need, is to end up losing our semen to this worthless toy.
No, but I'm saying who's the guy that has to clean up the sex robot vagina?
You mean clean the semen out?
Well, I don't know. Do the guys put on condoms? I would.
I think they should. I think they should make it a requirement. Yes.
Do you pay extra to ejaculate on the sex robot's face?
See, that's something that I would like to know.
Do you have to pay extra if you get if you come in the sex robot's hair?
But what I'm wondering is,
these are questions that
multiple guys are using this. Aren't they going to get an STD?
Well, yeah, from each other.
What's that in the background?
I don't know. Continue, Andrew, please.
I'm gonna read the next story because this
No.
isn't.
All right, continue.
Because we're losing time.
Yes, we're always losing time.
ESPN pulled an Asian broadcaster named Robert Lee from a University of Virginia football game because of his name.
Oh my God.
Lee's being moved to cover a game in Pittsburgh instead. We collectively made this decision.
Because the University of Virginia, that's where the statue is, right?
Oh, man.
So because this guy's name is Robert Lee, they're afraid that the people would riot?
Well, they collectively made the decision with Robert to switch games as the tragic events in Charlottesville were unfolding simply because of the coincidence of his name. In the moment, it felt right to all parties, said spokesman Derek Fulner.
Mm.
Ugh. This is stupid. This is idiotic. I'm
Yep.
sorry. The man's Asian.
Robert Lee.
Wobbit. Where's the wonton soup?
Yeah. Robert Lee. My name is Robert Lee, not Robert E. Lee. This is ridiculous. Come on. So what now? Anybody who's named Robert or their last name is Lee now they're white supremacists now?
Well, I hope not.
Listen, all these college kids need a slap in the mouth. They need a slap in the mouth, and if you protest or cause a disturbance on campus, you're expelled. Get the fuck out, and that's it.
I'm just gonna say this.
We'll see how quick they get fixed when they get expelled for unruly behavior, and see how that affects the rest of their lives.
I'm gonna be honest. If these kids end up being SJWs, the rest of their lives will just go on.
Yeah. What happens when these kids, if they ever get hired?
Because they're on the path to becoming a social justice warrior party that takes over the country and makes us even more divided.
No, it's not. Listen, companies don't pay people to be activists or social conscious. What happens if you get hired and your boss is named Robert Lee? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? You're gonna protest? Get the fuck out of here!
I'm sorry. That's idiocracy right there.
Again, like I said at the top of the show, all these kids were raised with participation trophies. Their parents gave them whatever they want. They let these kids run all over them. They gave them a therapist. They sent them to therapists. Most of these kids, I bet you, were raised with prescription drugs, Ritalin, Prozac, and their brains are scrambled.
Can
you imagine this? What if your name is Robert Lee? This guy, the Robert Lee's probably not his name. It's something more like Wang Yi Lee. That's really his real name, and he took an American name.
Wabat.
Oh my God! So see, and that's what I mean about ESPN. They become a social justice channel, and they're liberals.
I'm not going to comment anymore.
All right.
I'm going to move on to a more interesting story from the UFC. John Jones. You can't be serious about this. John Jones' comeback has been halted once again after reports surfaced yesterday that he failed a drug test following his UFC 214 victory over Daniel Cormier.
Yeah, this is another thing. Now UFC, all these fighters now, and this is after the fight, so they get tested before. They get tested multiple times before the fight, and then they get tested after the fight. So he came up dirty. He's a moron. He should be suspended. He should give up his purse, his pay. He's a moron.
The longtime champion has been tested positive for a banned substance in competition with the USADA test in relation to his fight with Daniel Cormier on July 29th in Anaheim, and has been previously suspended, sources told MMA Fighting.
Yeah, let me guess. He said he didn't know he took there were steroids in his cocaine, right?
John Jones has been stripped of the title, and Cormier will get it back per TMC, which was the first outlet to report the news. TMC reported that Jones tested positive for steroid Trinibol, which carries out a 2-year suspension from the USADA for first-time offenders and longable for multiple-time offenders. Unfortunately, this isn't the first time he has been down this road. Most of you remember that John Jones tested positive before a bout with Cormier at UFC 200 back in July of last year.
Yeah, well, that's it. They need to. The UFC needs to come up with a system that if you get caught a second time, that you're suspended for life.
I don't know how Dana White would feel about that.
Well, he's going to have to, because it's going to. You can't have fight. You can't listen. You have people paying a lot of money for these pay-per-views, and then what? And then the next day you have to hear that the fight didn't count because the fighter took steroids and he came up dirty. How long do you think people are going to put up with that? They're going to stop. They're going to stop ordering these pay-per-views.
And more importantly, we're not going to watch the highlights on YouTube.
Yeah, but it's once you come up dirty in a sporting event, that's it. Doesn't count. You're fake. You're a phony.
Oh.
Yeah, and all this is because they have to come. They have to get in shape for the fight. They have to put on muscle or lose muscle, and it's they can't do it on their own.
It's a big headache. I will say that.
All right. Anything else, Andrew? No, you have another story?
Well, we're out of time, unfortunately.
We got time.
I don't think that's appropriate because right now it is almost 9 o'clock and we are going to end our broadcast for this week. Thank you very much for listening.
Andrew, we still got 2 2 minutes.
I know, but I don't want to get cut off saying one thing and then it doesn't matter.
All right. So just to recap on this, everybody's an idiot. Most people are idiots watching the news.
They're libtards.
No, they're not. It's not a matter of what you believe in or whatever. People got to stop watching the news. People don't read, and that's why this country's going down. And Trump. If you're a Trump supporter, even if Trump does help the country, he's only buying the country time. He's gonna have to go out of office sooner or later. And then who's gonna be the next president?
Well, it probably will be me, Mike Pence.
Yeah. All right, Andrew. Do you have any? Do you want to tell people where they can follow you?
Yes, at Andy's Randomness is my YouTube channel. Go check it out. Every Sunday, I play a video game called the Andy Play Series. If you've missed out on the last couple of episodes, please check out the playlist on my YouTube channel. It's the same name on my Twitter and Instagram feeds at Andy's Randomness.
Oh, okay.
And if you want to follow me on Snapchat, I highly recommend it. Andrew,
okay.
Sports Fan.
All right. Very good. Good show, Andrew. And we'll be back next week, Wednesday, 8 to 9 live. Thanks for the viewers and the listeners. We'll see you next week.
Bye, everyone.